Hello, everyone. For those I haven't met, my name is Jeremy, and I'm on staff here at the church. And I am looking forward to chatting with you a little bit about the truth about the election. And I know it feels like I'm breaking one of the cardinal rules right now, right? You're never supposed to talk religion or politics, and you're never supposed to mix the two. Well, I am now giving a message in a church service about politics, and more specifically, about this election season and what we're all experiencing right now. If you're anything like me, this has just been a tumultuous, a crazy season. And it's been uncertain, and it's been hard to navigate, hard to know which way to go, hard to know how to respond and how to react to people who think differently than you and act differently. It's been a difficult season. You know, just a couple nights ago, I've been so worried about the election, or maybe not worried, just it's been so heavy on my heart and my mind. I was wide awake at 2 a.m., and I go to flip on my phone just to see if there's any updates, which, of course, is a great idea at 2 in the morning. And my phone on full volume goes, "This is CNN." And Aaron jumps up out of bed just looking around. It seems like it's unavoidable right now. The election is even interrupting our sleep. So how do we move on? How do we progress beyond this season of chaos and uncertainty? As I record this right now on Friday morning, we still don't know who the president will be. It's possible we'll know by the time this airs on Sunday morning, but even then, we don't know who will have majority in the Senate. We could be in this cloud of uncertainty for weeks or maybe even months more. So how do we find direction and clarity, and how do we continue to move forward with our lives when we're wrapped up in this chaos? There's a book in the Bible that deals with this kind of uncertainty. This not knowing what to do, which direction to go, where to cling to for purpose and our next steps in life. Because it just feels like with everything with the election and COVID, it's just all consuming. I just feel like I don't have any higher brain function left to get through the day. So when the author in Ecclesiastes is saying, meaningless, meaningless, everything is meaningless, I can grasp that a little bit. The author says he's encountered everything under the sun. He's traveled, he's experienced everything, he's indulged, but it didn't bring him purpose and direction in life. And I feel like right now, even with this political world and the COVID realities, it can be hard to find our purpose and meaning and direction beyond what's 2 feet in front of our faces. And unfortunately, the only thing we've been able to see 2 feet in front of our faces has been politics. So when the author of Ecclesiastes is saying, meaningless, meaningless, it's kind of a rough translation of the word, because what he's really saying is hevel, hevel. And hevel doesn't mean meaningless. There are other words in Hebrew that mean that. But hevel is very specific. And hevel is more like smoke or vapor. It's like trying to work your way through a thick cloud, not being able to see too far in front of you and not knowing where danger resides or where the safe path ahead is. It's like when you're looking for purpose and direction and instead you're not finding clarity. That's hevel. That's the season we're in right now, where we're looking for clarity, direction, but it's just too chaotic or too difficult to find our pathway forward. So then what does the author conclude, right? If everything is meaningless and everything is hevel and it's hard and we don't know which way to go, then what? Why would this book even be in the Bible? Well, let's hear the author's conclusion from the message. This comes from Ecclesiastes chapter 12, verses 11 to 13 in the message. The words of the wise prod us to live well. They're like nails hammered home, holding life together. They are given by God, the one shepherd. But regarding anything beyond this, dear friend, go easy. There's no end to the publishing of books, and constant study wearies you out, so you're no good for anything else. The last and final word is this: fear God. Do what he tells you. Now, that seems strange advice, doesn't it? To fear God. I mean, the language we usually use today in our prayers and is about a loving, caring, compassionate God, a God that we have a personal relationship with and knows us on an intimate level and loves us personally. Why would I fear such a God as that? Again, we're kind of stuck in this slightly maybe mistranslation or misconstrued idea of fear. We think of it like a scary movie, something that you're fearful of and pull away from. But the real use is more like awe and wonder. You know, the fear of standing on top of a mountain and looking down at the majesty of the valley below you. That is scary. That'll get your heart pounding. But that's the type of fear that it's talking about. Be in wonder, be in awe of the things around us. Be in awe of God and how mighty and wonderful and powerful that God is. So not fear as in resent and pull away, but fear as in embracing that scary, majestic power. And then second, to do what he tells you. To do what God tells you. I don't necessarily think God is a he, so do what God tells you. Follow God's laws, commands. And what is the greatest of those commands? To love one another and to love God. So if we're living in that awe and reverence, and we're loving God and loving others, that will help us navigate the hevel. Now, I want to give you 3 just practical examples, 3 practical tips that you can introduce into your life intentionally this week to help you try and sift through that hevel, that maybe meaninglessness, that not knowing what to do next. So the first tip that I find from the book of Ecclesiastes and from the author is to be grateful. To be grateful. If you've heard that phrase, eat, drink, and be merry, that's actually scriptural. That comes from the book of Ecclesiastes, where it talks about finding joy in the little things, appreciating the good food served to you, appreciating the good company that comes with it, even if that company is on Zoom, right? And enjoying nature and just reveling in when nature makes your soul smile, right? Be grateful, right? That's more like that fear of God, that awe, that wonder. Find those moments and cherish them. And second, be present. Be truly present now. Like what Pastor Jane talked about last week with those thin places or thin spaces where you feel like you're really connected with God. It's hard to experience God, and it's hard to experience the joy and wonder, the direction and purpose in world while you're scrolling on your phone. It's hard to connect with God if you're stuck in a video game. It's hard to connect with God's creation and God if we're only looking and absorbed into our technology and our information and what's presented 2 feet in front of our faces. We need to move beyond that and be present. Open up what we see and what we engage with. And then third, be connected. You know, this season of politics has separated us more than anything I can remember, anything that has been present in my lifetime. politics and COVID, we feel distant, we feel isolated, and it is harder than ever to navigate through the hevel on your own. We feel stranded, we feel lonely, and we wander. And it's challenging, it's hard. It is easier to navigate the muddled path of this world when you're doing it in community that cares for you and has your best interests at heart. So be connected and find community. It takes our intentional effort to be in community. So, there's ways in the church. If the church can be that community for you, I hope you're willing to take that next step. We have life groups coming for Advent, which is an opportunity just to get to know one another. We have fun events all the time, like for our Pride celebration we had this weekend, just having fun and getting together. There's opportunities for community here. But even if it's not at this church, be intentional about getting plugged in somewhere, wherever you find honest and empowering community to be in. So I'll end with this. The author tells us to fear God and keep God's commands. And to us, that translates to remember that awe and that majesty of God. And to remember to love others. That all of God's commands and laws point us towards love and compassion and grace. And how do we do that? We have these 3 simple tips. So these are, maybe not simple, but 3 practical tips. 3 things that I hope will help you in this week as you're navigating the hevel and the mess of what comes ahead. Remember to be grateful. Find those things to be grateful about and name them. And second, be present. It's okay. It's okay to put down our phone, our laptops, to turn off the TV, and be present with those around us, or just being present in nature, being present in your sacred space, in your home, whatever it may be. And then thirdly, to be connected. Even if that just means making a phone call this week to somebody who's on your heart, or a text message, or connecting on social media, or joining a group, or whatever it is, I encourage you to put yourself out there to be connected, because community takes effort and intentionality. I just want to remind you that no matter what you're feeling in this season, it's okay. Whether it's fear and anger, that's okay. If it's doubt and confusion, that's okay. If you're feeling confident and joyous, yes, that's okay too. That hevel can make things feel cloudy, can make you feel uncertain. So let's find those things that anchor us in what really matter, in God's love, compassion, and just the wonder and awe we see all around us. Amen.